Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We're back for another
You all right, mate?
show. Oh, hi, Dean. How you doing, mate? Nice
I'm
to see
okay,
you.
mate. Oh, I say I'm all right. I just was tweeting, and I just tweeted the StreamYard link instead of the YouTube. So we'd have had loads of people just jumping on to try and get on the stream instead of actually just watching it. But yeah, I haven't actually looked at the scores from this week. To be honest, I literally don't know what.
Do you have Salah?
Yes.
Did you captain Salah?
Yes.
You had a good week.
Did I? The rest of my team definitely didn't do well.
Doesn't matter. That is unfortunately how captaincy works when your guy gets a brace and bonus points. And that is why I am so devastated right here, right now. I have been all weekend. I'm in a foul mood. For the last 6 weeks, pretty much. Maliki, straight in with a super chat. Thank you, Maliki. If G doesn't buy Salah soon and stop with this Haaland perseverance nonsense, I'm unsubscribing. Absolutely brilliant. Love that, mate.
Are you going to do that?
I don't know. I'll talk through my two routes later in today's show when we see my team. I'm buying João Pedro this week. I'm not sure if I'm selling Haaland or Solanke for João Pedro. So there we go. Guys, hello to so many in the chat. Nice to see so many in. We have got Monday Night Football. The good news is it's Newcastle versus West Ham, but it doesn't kick off until the end of this show. The big team news is, I don't know if there is any big team news, like Somerville starts for West Ham.
Is Isak playing?
Isak starts. Lewis Hall starts for me.
Still got someone to
Lloyd
play,
Kelly at centre-back, as I guess we expected with Dan Burnout. Callum Wilson is fit enough for the bench. Wow. I haven't seen Callum Wilson in a while, have we?
I forgot about him.
Yeah. And Abby has become a YouTube member.
Welcome.
Tell us about
last week. No one joined. No one joined last week. I think it was the first week that nobody signed up. I was like, come on, come and join us. Become a YouTube member, even if it's to watch the videos and support us, or even better, come and join us in the WhatsApp group. It is a good group. And on Saturday, I actually had to apologize to them because I woke up. I decided not to wake up for the early game at the weekend. It's always a big decision, but 4:30 a.m. to watch Leicester v Chelsea was not the life for me, I decided. Yeah. So I was like, all the other games kick off at 7. I can watch Fulham v Wolves, 7 a.m. That's bad for a Saturday morning. Yeah. Woke up early, like watching the game nicely. Fulham totally in control for half an hour. I hadn't gone to the WhatsApp group because I still didn't know the Leicester-Chelsea score. And I was like, at half time, I can just watch the 13-minute highlights package.
Oh, like an NBC highlights, yeah.
Yeah, so I can get a no spoiler highlights thing. So I was a bit delayed in getting involved with all the WhatsApp group at the weekend, but it was a great chat. Obviously, sorry, my voice is going. Fulham game definitely didn't work out how I planned and expected. And I do really regret not getting Cunha on my wild card. But apart from that, it was a fun weekend of FPL chat, which was absolutely, as you say, I can now see I've been rescued completely by Mo Salah. I got 54 points. Salah has got 26 of them.
I can't because my captain gets 4 every week. And every week Salah captainers get 25 to 30.
I'm so glad I made the decision. I've had Salah since the whole season. I've had Salah, and it's the only reason I'm ranked at almost literally 1 million, almost to the number. It's like 1,096,000 or something.
Oh, really?
Isak tonight with a couple of goals would be nice. That would really give me elevation. Yeah, Maliki can see Isak going big. That's good. Sally says Isak hat trick, not asking for too much. No, I think that's fine.
Mate, Salah has. You said you've owned him all season. He has had a 3, a 2, and a 6 pointer as his 3 lowest scores. Right? He's had 1, 2, 1, 3, and a 6. I've owned him for 2 weeks this season, and I had him for the 2 and the 6. So I'm brutal. Wow. He's had like so many double-digit hauls. He's had a 14, a 10, a 17, a 10, a 12, a 10, a 9, a 14, a 13. That's ridiculous.
He's not even playing that well.
I know. That's why I don't feel the need to have.
Look at his goals at the weekend, mate. He's got the goalkeeper's run out the way for him.
Penalty.
The goalkeeper runs out the way of his goal, and then he gets a pen. But this is why I've got him, because he's
no one gets
an unstoppable force. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. At some point, this turns. Having Haaland has to pay off again at some point, because more and more people are now dropping off of Haaland. There is no way that Haaland continues to not score goals.
Read this tweet.
Which is remarkable. And even if you look at the game at the weekend with City, I mean, Vicario is a remarkable shot stopper sometimes. And
He is. He's great at that. He's terrible at crosses, but brilliant at everything else.
really wasn't far away from getting a goal. Man City had 23 shots against Tottenham at the weekend. Tottenham are obviously more efficient and the quality of their chances was very good. But City really should have scored in that game. Haaland has to give back to his loyal FPL manager, says our producer, who owns Haaland and is desperate for him to score. But yeah, it's very, very strange what's going on up there, mate, at the Etihad. And it's almost impossible to analyse because none of us really know if and when it ends. I'm every week giving them the benefit of the doubt and assuming...
Same. I'm showing every benefit of the doubt going. I'm giving him the armband every week.
Yeah, Anonymous says Haaland hasn't suddenly forgotten how to score goals. He'll bounce back. And I absolutely believe that too.
And he'll score for Norway hat-trick, you know.
So it comes around again. Does it come around against Liverpool?
Yeah.
Who knows, mate? This is the thing as well with the fixtures this season. It doesn't really matter who anyone's playing. Like, I was a bit annoyed at the weekend. Remember my changes were going to be bringing in Ahmed and Isak, right? Yeah. They were going to be my two changes. A big man got into my head, didn't he? Pedro Porro, get rid of him, get rid of him. No, keep your midfield. It's your defence that's poor. So I end up getting rid of Pedro Porro, bringing in a defender who got me 1 or 2 points.
Big man didn't sell Pedro Porro, though. I checked his team, he kept him.
I mean, to be fair, he did tell me to bring an Arsenal defender, but I couldn't really do that if I was going to get the money I had. I couldn't do the Arsenal defender, so I ended up bringing like Luca Dean, who's sub.
Oh, mate. Right.
So then Porro gets a and I knew it. I was like, Pedro Porro has such a good ceiling for this game. Even if they concede, he could get among the goals. Even this assist, like he'd get points in this game.
I must admit, I was with Big Man on that, but yeah, he did go and score.
I've just got to stop listening to you lot.
Yeah.
It's not why I'm playing the game.
Listen to me and just own Haaland, not Salah. I mean, this tweet from FPL Olympian is remarkable, and we knew the numbers, but to see and I've had like my WhatsApp group, my channel members, right? I've got there's a small group of us in there. We do a captaincy poll every week. Literally 99% of them, all but me, were captaining Salah. And I was the only one on Haaland. And I think one went Jackson.
And you're the expert.
I know. And it's like, it looks so bad, doesn't it? Maliki, I mean, tell us what you think. But Maliki has been witnessing now, like the chat where I'm posting stuff like this in the group. And they're going, yeah, but, you know, you can't account for, you know, being low on confidence. That's not reflected in XG. And I'm like, you know, some players just don't perform and hit their expected. And I'm like, guys, can we remember who we're talking about here? We're talking about the best number 9 in world football. He always hits his XG over time. He hits par on average. And as for the confidence thing, he's just gone and scored 4 goals in the international break. In these 6 games for Man City where he hasn't been scoring, he's still been scoring in the club competitions like the Champions League. Like, he's not low on confidence. He's just hitting the ball a little bit off. His timing might be a little bit off. There's been good saves. Oh, and maybe a lot of the goals he does score are actually sometimes fumbled in, and he's hitting it too clear. You know, it's marginal, the difference we've seen, and it certainly ain't to do with the guy's confidence, and it certainly ain't to do with the guy being a bad finisher.
Yeah,
I'm not having it. Respect Erling Haaland.
So many people in the game are doing well without him, and so even if he is going to start scoring points again, people are finding ways to have 2 players that make up for those points. And that has been the trick to doing well this season, I think.
Cunha and Salah came in for a lot of the Haaland sellers, you know?
Yeah. And that's the key because, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, you're going to get to a point where City have got Forest at home, they've got Palace away, then they've got Man United at home. And you'd be looking at that thinking, Haaland's probably got 4 or 5 goals in him potentially across those 3 games.
It's a really good point.
And I would usually be considering going there, but now I've come away from it. I can't really go back to Haaland anytime soon. And I'm like, okay, full confidence in Mo Salah continuing. I'm on Isak right now, but I might revert back to Solanke at some point, judging by how they're looking and what the form is, and what the fixtures look like. But kind of if I balance up those two, and then you get in another good scoring midfielder / attacker, and you are getting there to making up for anything Haaland can do anyway. So very, very strange season. I really didn't expect any of this. The results are so unpredictable, mate. I mean, Tottenham to go win 4-0 at Man City, it kind of just leaves us in no man's land in terms of predicting how this season's going to go, because Tottenham had just lost to Ipswich 2-1. James Maddison had lost his place in the team. He goes to Etihad, grabs a cup, puts in a man of the match performance. No, none of that was coming. But Pep's got to fix it, because they're just destabilised. And I don't know what he's trying to do in that midfield with Gundogan and Rico Lewis. Matheus Nunes had to be in there just for the legs and the physicality, really.
Yeah.
And I think that
doesn't trust him there, does he? He doesn't trust him in a midfield.
That's his position.
Yeah. That's his position. Play the rules. Yeah.
And Gundogan, he's just not there. He's not.
He's not. He's had a year of slower football, and it shows.
Yeah, exactly that. So I don't know. Actually, it's a massive test for Pep Guardiola. It is actually like really fascinating to see how he gets out of it and what he can do, because for years there have been people that call him a fraud in the sense that like he could only do it with the best players, and we are now seeing him at a time when he's having to do it without his best players, and he's not doing it. So I don't know. Like, clearly, Rodri is the best footballer in the world. If they lose him and they lose 5 games in a row, like that Ballon d'Or absolutely deserved, apparently.
Yeah, no absence has ever been so apparent, right?
No, but also
that's cool.
I was just saying on the Unranked FC podcast, like at a time when Haaland and Rodri are both negotiating contract extensions, if I was Rodri, I'd be like, let's just wait a second, because whatever Haaland gets, we want.
Yeah.
Because he is every bit as important, maybe more important now, in fact, than Haaland.
Yeah, it's crazy that. It's going to be so interesting to see how Pep comes out of this, because he will turn it around, but how? I always question, like, I've never really questioned it because City have always been good. Like, if they have a blip, it's just a blip. But this is a bigger blip than we've seen since ever with Pep at City. Maybe his first season there was bad times, but what's the plan B? Because when you lose into Spurs at 1-0 down, and we've seen them 1-0 down, and we've seen them 2-0 down, they can keep playing the same way, and they create enough chances playing how they play that they get back into football matches. But when you're like 3-0 down, like, you need something different. You're not ever going to go see long ball Pep late in a game, for example. Yeah. But I do question, like, I was watching Man City trying to play the same style throughout that football match. Nothing changed in 90 minutes. To not have that plan B or that substitute off the bench to change the formation or he doesn't make those in-game changes. And he, week to week, like, his style is always, it's my way or the highway, which feels at times against Spurs, especially when you're 3-0 down. I know they got the fourth really late. It's like, okay, is that not a tad naive? But best manager in the world. So
I honestly think that there might have been part of Pep that had his mind on the Champions League this week, and he maybe has overthought this a little bit because they lost to Sporting and it's affected their positioning in this Champions League format.
Big defeat. Yeah.
And that it does mean that there's the potential that they don't become one of the automatic qualifiers, that they have those extra games. Guardiola doesn't want those. So they play Feyenoord tomorrow. And I said on here the other day, like, I've heard like De Bruyne is basically ready to start. And all these others that are coming back are ready to be in that frame. Matheus Nunes probably should have been in the middle. I assume now tomorrow, De Bruyne will start. I assume that Matheus Nunes will start. I think that a lot of those players are going to suddenly transition back into this team. And so that by the time we get to the weekend, we are looking at a stronger Man City team. And De Bruyne is obviously like talking at the moment, and he's being asked about his future and his condition and stuff. And he's talks about the pain he's felt whenever he has a shot. He's talking about the fact that he doesn't actually know what his future holds. I think it's highly unlikely that Kevin De Bruyne is staying this season. If he's going to stay, he's taking a massive wage cut, and he's City are taking a massive risk by keeping him because
Mm.
he's not able to prove that he can stay fit for a prolonged period of time. And San Diego FC are waiting to sign Kevin De Bruyne if and when this contract doesn't materialise. So he's got a decision to make reasonably soon. I mean, he can probably let it drag on 2 more months maybe, but by then you're going to have to come up with a decision. And yeah, look, Mark's saying KDB is washed. I think it is very peak. He probably is, yeah. I think you're looking at a guy who's, 32, 33. Kyle Walker, he's finished at this level. Gundogan is finished at this level. And they are your aging Man City players, and they haven't brought in replacements for them. So maybe they can fix this in the second half of the season. But whatever they do, they can't get Rodri back. And so unless they sign Zubimendi and he comes into the Premier League and takes to it like naturally and easily, then these problems are going to persist because there's also this problem outside of Haaland. There's no goal threat. If Haaland's not scoring, who's getting them? In past seasons, you would have had Alvarez or you'd have had someone coming in, even if Bernardo Silva weighing in with goals. You've got Savinho, who hasn't got a goal yet. Grealish is just coming back. Doku's not there yet. It's very strange, but yeah, if PL Freddy says City looks so much better when KDB came on, and you'd like to believe that would obviously be the case, but because he's been out for so long, you don't know how slick he can be, how quick. But yeah, with Foden out of form as well, it's just been really significant. I think, to be honest, Foden's going to have to come out of that team.
I think so. Soon. You've either got to stick him wide or he's got to come out. But Foden playing as the 10, he's had enough opportunity now. Like, he's had the last good
whatever
6-week run.
They've tried to play him into form and it hasn't worked. And obviously they haven't had any other options, so it's been fine.
And if De Bruyne is not fit in the games he's not playing, then Gundogan further up, maybe because he's got the goal threat. Pep has spoken about wanting to Gundogan's the best at arriving late into the box and scoring, but we're having to play him a bit deeper because of the lack of sort of more defensive midfielders. But Foden needs to be a winger, I think, which isn't the role he wants to play, but it's not been good enough. We definitely want to talk more about differentials from rank chasers, Abby. We'll get to that. I like that actually very much, but I feel like we need to address some of the headlines from the week. We've spoken a lot now about City. Arsenal double defence, absolutely. In fact, that's a differential in itself. Get there as soon as possible because they are going to keep clean sheets. We said this with Big Man last Thursday, Friday. I think he's gone double defence. He's talking about even going to maybe triple Arsenal defence. They're that good. What do? They went and kept a clean sheet and looked comfortable. We're going to see a lot of them. But we have to touch on the two budget Brazilians because they are the faces of the game week. João Pedro, Mateus Cunha. When you look at the fixture ticker, Wolves and Brighton are top 3, both of them. So they've both got the fixtures. They're both cheap. They're both the talisman for their teams. Cunha is a 90-minute man. We know that. João Pedro started the season as a 90-minute man, then got injured. I expect he'll get close to 90 versus Southampton at home. But if he's having a bad game, he will get hooked because Brighton have got so many good other attacking players. Cunha is the main man at all costs, won't ever get hooked. So for the minutes, I prefer Cunha slightly. But let's do a straight shootout. You can only have one. Let's poll it. Where are you at, Dean? We'll do a poll and see where our chasers are at. If you could only have one of them, bearing in mind Cunha is a million more, who would you pick?
After seeing him at the weekend, Cunha. But that is a really difficult decision to make. The value there is quite vast, isn't it? Like a million more.
Both gone up in price this game week already. They'll probably both get second rises.
You're going to say, do you think they'll go up again? Yeah, that would be the problem with that.
You can only have one in the poll, guys. So who would you pick if you could only have one? I own Cunha. Have done for a couple of weeks. I am buying João Pedro though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean you just get both. I think Cunha.
The fixtures are amazing for both of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Honestly, what is it about Cunha, though, in terms of returns now? Because you've watched him like me at Atletico Madrid and known he's a player, but he's never been prolific. He's looking prolific now. He's never been really a goal scorer. And in terms of conversion, he's been good, but not great. He's now looking like he can be great.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, honestly, just had the run of Craven Cottage in the end. I mean, Fulham should not have lost control of that game like they did. Like that was never looking like even a draw. It was like Fulham were going to win that game 2 or 3-0, and they lose their grip. And then Cunha, by the end of the afternoon, is strutting around like he owns the place, and he basically did. He's got such supreme confidence in his ability, and technically he's outstanding. He really is, and I think his ability to score from different positions is really, really interesting as well. João Pedro, I do really like because of the sorts of positions he gets into. I don't know. I can't differentiate of what a better player versus a better FPL asset here. Because João Pedro is cheaper, I'm finding that really difficult. I have voted for Cunha in the poll.
I did too.
And he is winning. But because he's that much more expensive, I don't know that you can really split them. Mark says Cunha and João Pedro have such high footballing IQ. Yeah, they do.
Oh, so Mark's also said, João Pedro because he has pens. Guys, it's quite frankly lazy FPL content creation if we keep talking about penalties. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely. if any content creator worth his soul opens, you should buy X player because he's on penalties, I'd switch off. And now I do say it. Like, don't get me wrong. I talk about penalties, and we all do because they do matter a little bit. But to be leading with that as a headline all the time drives me insane. One, there's loads of other players that are good at other bits that get points. Two, there's barely any penalties anymore compared to like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And three, that player has loads of other skills to talk about than the fact he's on pens. How about the fact he's got a good fixture up next? That's a good start if you're short of ideas. Or the fact he plays 90 minutes. Or the fact he's on, it's his birthday or he's got new boots, whatever. Give me something else. Oh, and by the way, Cunha could be on penalties. Sarabia is the penalty taker at Wolves. He's played 3 times this season. Like, he doesn't get a huge amount of minutes. He's always injured. There's a good chance Sarabia won't be on the pitch. He's played a 45, a 61, and a 45 since August. Like,
yeah. So Salah has scored the most penalties this season. Salah's scored 3 penalties. Yeah, and that is a good other reason to own Salah. I mean, he's a premium asset anyway.
Yeah,
and it helps that Liverpool get pens, right? And Burmo is second in the list. He scored 2 penalties.
Yeah.
Everyone else has 1 penalty max. That's it. So,
but we're willing to lead with it every time we talk about a player. It's boring.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's good to have up your sleeve. Like, I've got Bruno Fernandes, and I like having the fact that like he's on pens.
Yeah,
like, I like
it's a little bonus.
Yeah, but it is now a bonus because it doesn't look like you're going to get someone.
Has he had a pen this year?
Who? Haaland?
Bruno.
Oh, sorry, Bruno. Yeah, sorry. Why did I say Haaland? Bruno's had 1. Yeah, he's had 1 pen.
So he's getting like 1 every 12 games. Like, great. Like, it's a nice little perk, but it's not a 1 in 3, 1 in 4, which is what peak Bruno used to get. With the first year VAR came in.
And that's it. So, like, even for Salah, you might get 9 or 10 pens at this rate, right?
That is huge, to be fair.
Which is a big difference. But it's looking like he's the only one that gives you that differential. And again, maybe that's another reason that Salah is proven to be a better pick than Haaland, maybe because of this.
Palmer last season, he's all pens. Like those Palmer stats from last year, you take goals,
non-pen
goals out, and it's not like in Serie A when they give the goal scoring charts in Italy, they give them without pens. They go do a little star for a pen. Nice. And I quite like that because I do sometimes think it's an unfair comparison. When
That's very old school.
Number 9s.
That's very old school. I remember even when I was a kid and I would like keep tabs on my own goals. Like when I was playing, I would like count normal goals. And then in brackets, if I'd scored any penalties, I'd have to write.
Really?
I'd be like, my season total so far, like 16 goals, brackets, 3 pens. Because that didn't really count.
Okay. Yeah. They count half points. Like maybe in FPL they should be half points. Yeah. Rodgers, by the way, could be on pens, as Pete says, for Aston Villa. Like, what do you make of that? Like, often when we see players that aren't like absolutely penalty stalwarts, like say Tielemans comes on, has a pen, misses. Do you then see Ollie Watkins get the next one or Rodgers get the next one? Because we did at Bournemouth. We saw Evanilson have a penalty. He missed. And it was like, you're on pens till you miss, mate. And he missed the first one. And then Kluivert took the second and scored. And now Kluivert's probably on pens. There's some clubs like Liverpool, doesn't matter if Salah or Palmer at Chelsea missed, they'll be on the next one. But with Villa, do you feel like that could change? The next pen might not be Tielemans, right? We've seen it change at Fulham in the past, haven't we, when players have missed?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a strong chance that you would get that change. And Rodgers would definitely be in the frame for that. So, I mean, I've jumped off that Morgan Rodgers bus a long time ago now, but perhaps it's something to get
FPL discomfort. That is so unfair. That is so unfair. That's not what I'm doing. This is a topical conversation that the chat have dictated. I'm not asked my opinion on Rodgers and leading with, I'm buying him because he might be on pens. That's boring.
Oh, they know how to wind you up.
I do. I love Kieran. Thanks, mate. FPL discomfort. Another one in my WhatsApp group that has seen me ranting all weekend. And by the way, Kieran, who said joke saying, "Oh, I've tuned in at the wrong time," as we're talking about Cunha. He's been very anti-Wolves and Cunha, which has been quite funny to watch. But look, let's move on, I guess, away from João Pedro and we've spoken about Cunha. Should we talk a little bit about João Pedro? Because do you look at that squad at Brighton and worry slightly for his minutes, knowing the fact they have to wrap him up a bit as well? Like, you can sub him at 63 minutes and still trust that whoever comes on is going to do a job, because they've got strength and depth there.
Yeah, but mate, he's missed 5 matches and he's come back with an 11-pointer and a 12-pointer. And I've got
90 minutes total from those two games?
Yeah, exactly. And I've got a dilemma. They play Southampton at home at the weekend. I have Danny Welbeck.
Oh, dear.
Right? And I have a transfer to use this week, and the rest of my team is totally fine at the moment, so I can change Danny Welbeck to João Pedro.
Right. Feels sideways, but...
It feels side...
You get the player on pens.
Or does Welbeck take it? So I'm a bit torn over that. I was looking at it this morning thinking, will I be switching Welbeck to Pedro? Like...
How many pens have Brighton had this year? Sorry.
I assume I probably will. It did come into my mind, though. Yeah.
Oh, God, is there a Friday night game? Oh, crap, mate. It's a Friday night game.
Oh, no. We didn't have that in our plan for the week, did we, mate?
Oh, that's a point for our Friday stream, yeah.
For
God's sake. Someone in the chat just said it's a Friday night game. I was like, no, what? Oh, God, it's a Friday night game.
Well, we normally do... What time do we normally do?
Yeah, we do lunchtime, to be fair. It probably doesn't change for us.
Yeah, we might still be fine. Yeah. Although I might have it's Thanksgiving Thursday. So I don't know if I want to be getting up at 6 a.m. Yeah, maybe we have to figure that out.
2, not 1 or something.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. But yeah, I assume I probably would. Someone just said, is Ferguson leaving in January? I mean, Brighton still have a massive price tag on Ferguson. So I don't know.
Feels a bit unfair, that price tag. Like, what is just because he's British? Like, yeah, he's good, but I feel like there's definitely a British
way
tax.
Too out. Yeah.
If he was Spanish and playing for Real Sociedad, his price would not be that, you know?
Exactly. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see about that one. But yeah, interesting. Mark Nash says Brighton's front four: João Pedro, Ruta, Welbeck, and Mitona. The interplay between that lot. Yeah, it's true. They've got a good mix, Brighton, of options, and even beyond that, they've got good depth too. Always a good team to watch. But yeah, I assume I will be making that switch. We're halfway through the show, so make sure you do get your questions in, people, and do give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, and do consider joining our members team. We've had Abby jump on today. Thank you very much for joining. It's very cheap. And it's a very nice way of letting me and Gianni know that you like us. So just do that.
Mate, it's great to see so many of the channel members that I've known for so long coming over from my channel onto CJ as well. Like Gucci, FPL Discomfort, Maliki. And Maliki has just put in our WhatsApp group. Sorry, Kieran, FPL Discomfort, just put in our WhatsApp group. Gianni has asked if anyone could provide a list of penalty takers. It's his favourite thing about recommending players, and he needs it to hand. So funny. It's like, oh God. If I'm not... What my rant last week was about players being nailed, and I called out Luca Dean as someone that was clearly first choice. And then he went and got benched as well. Like, such a mug.
I actually think that was in my head as well. So when I had Big Man telling me to get rid of Porro, I had you telling me that Luca Dean was nailed on for starts. So get rid of him and have a substitute from Aston Villa instead in my team.
I mean, Luca Dean is nailed from now. I'm just going to say that. They had Juventus, and then they got Premier League and the busy schedule. Maddison needed a game. They also put Borgard at right back, whatever. Gucci sold Porro for Dean. I hope that wasn't from me, Gucci. Dean, where do you want to go? Should we talk about some differentials and then move on to our teams? Because that was a great question earlier about differentials. Where do we go for differentials? Because one player I've been building up, and again, he wasn't in the 11. Chelsea have had a bit of flu, I think, because Gusto missed out on Pedro Neto too. I think Pedro Neto is a nice differential. Definitely one to monitor with the Chelsea fixtures. But if we're looking at teams at the top of the fixture, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Wolves. I mean, anyone at Arsenal, we haven't really spoken about them. Is it just the Saka show? Or can we punt on a Trossard? Like, Trossard came in for Martinelli and looked good. Odegaard, but I don't. Is he an FPL pick though, Odegaard?
I mean, it's just difficult because of his value. Like, he's amazing and he changes the way they play.
Best performance of the season for Arsenal, wasn't it? Against Forest, and Odegaard back.
Really good to win that.
Yeah,
but Odegaard's not going to get goals, is he? Really?
8.2 mil. He's not cheap.
Just don't. That's my problem. Like, I love him, but I just can't see him being worth the investment. So. Yeah, Saka's still the one, I guess, even though he's flagged every single week.
Havertz, Annie says, will Jesus take minutes from Havertz? We didn't see that benching coming. I'm guessing there was a knock.
Yeah, I don't
Arteta
know.
loves him. Arteta never drops Havertz. So I would suggest Havertz is still first choice, but I'm not going to go there.
Maybe Fraser Forster. Bad news for Spurs as Vicario has today undergone surgery for a fracture of his right ankle. There we go.
What? When did that happen? During the game?
Don't know. It's just literally coming out right now.
I do remember him receiving treatment at some point, I think, in that game. Wow. That's big news. So what? How long's that then going to be out for?
Doesn't say, but I mean, he's had surgery on his ankle. Quite hard for a goalkeeper to play anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's not like they're playing 3 games a month at the moment in the Premier League. He is going to miss a ton of Premier League
breaks
games.
6 weeks usually, so
doesn't look good.
6 to 8. Yeah, it's not looking good. But yeah, Forster, 4.3 million. 4.3 million, and you're now getting a nailed on goalkeeper. He's not that good, is he?
No, and also Spurs are a terrible defense anyway. Like, I know they've just kept a clean sheet, but they just don't keep cleans.
Have they got any other goalkeepers listed?
Yeah, they've got a couple listed. I don't know who they are.
I'm going to say, because
you might know them.
They have got. Have a quick look who they've actually got. Austin and Whiteman. I don't even. Brandon Austin. No, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, I don't. I'm guessing they're kids, are they? But the fact
obviously Forster has been their Europa goalkeeper, hasn't he? He was.
Oh, has he been getting game time in the Europa? Is he?
Yeah, so he's played a few games in Europa. But obviously they just lost 3-2 to Galatasaray. Forster is awful with his feet and gets beaten a lot from distance, says FPL Freddie.
Freddie's a Southampton fan as well. Like, do you know what? I was just thinking, what's his skill set? And I was actually thinking similar to Vicario in the fact that he can be a good shot stopper, but I think he's terrible at crosses as well, which is weird because he's so big. But I'm sure I've seen him fluff a lot of crosses. But yeah, definitely bad with his feet.
Vicario, that is such a big loss. He's been so good. I think he's been a really good signing since they got him. Yeah. But that is a big... Poor old Tottenham.
They got Van der Ven and Romero out as well. Like,
they pull out a result like that, and now they're without their goalkeeper. That is really hard luck. Sorry, Tottenham fans, to bring that to you on this Monday. But yeah, anyway, we're doing differentials. We don't really suggest that Forster is a good differential.
Who do we like then? Like, I like at Brighton. I think Matoma is going under the radar, and I'm not saying this just because he got points at the weekend. Like I've been saying about Matoma for a while. Because when I look at that attacking lineup, yes, João Pedro and Welbeck at the moment, they're nailed, or they're starters. Jorginho's getting a lot of games, but Matoma just feels like that left-hand slot is the only one where you don't have the competition. The right-hand slot, you have so much competition. Number 9, number 10, you do the same. Matoma on the left is just, he's 5.7% Matoma, 6.4 million.
Yeah. It's a long time since his must-have days, isn't it?
It is a long time, but he's still got that quality.
Yeah, I don't know why he's like not quite where I want him to be. Like he's still extremely good, but in an FPL perspective, he's just not quite reaching it.
Why is that? Why is that? Do you think it was just the fact that he'd hit the ground running and he took people by surprise and people underestimated him, or was he significantly better?
Who was their forward at the time? Who was their main? I'm trying to think because now obviously they got much more central threat, and maybe it was just the way that he guided him to take those positions. I think it might have been a positional thing, like in terms of the spaces that he would pick up. Possibly. And now they've got other players that kind of get in there, and he
it's a front four now, isn't it? With a number like Welbeck, João Pedro, someone on the right, someone on the left. It's a 4. It was a front 3 before. It was like Solly March on the right, one striker, Matoma on the left.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of, I don't know where else I'd look. Nicholas Jackson's obviously like he's still a decent pick. It's just the price point doesn't really suit anyone. So I'd not really be tempted to pick him.
I do think double Arsenal defense is a differential in itself and get there.
I think Amad Diallo's a good pick.
Oh, 4.9.
I think
he's going to keep that wing back spot now, isn't he?
I mean, I don't think it's his best position. I don't really want Amad Diallo to be a wing back.
But if they've got the ball, he's a winger.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what he did, like in that first minute, was sensational. And Amorim was talking about the great defensive work he's been doing to make that position work, but never really imagined that would
struggle to believe that.
Yeah, I wanted to get him into one of those more
energy
forward positions
rather than defensive nows. This is just energy.
Yeah. But at that price point, knowing he's going to be in that team pretty much every week, especially for now, I think it's quite good.
Matt, I've got a good differential for you here. He's only in the team sort of definitely starting because Nketiah has been injured. But before Nketiah got injured, he was getting some starts. And if he keeps scoring, he'll keep his spot. He's had 18. He had a 66. Oh, sorry, he started 4 of his last 5. Ismail Sarr. He's a 5.7 million midfielder, not forward, playing up front for Palace alongside Mateta. 5.7 million is cheap. Like, there's a lot of people that will be selling Mbeumo in a few weeks. And if they're selling Mbeumo trying to create money to go up, I don't know, from somewhere to Saka, and you need to downgrade Mbeumo to a 5.5, 6 million mid. Yeah. I don't know, like Smith Rowe, sure. But Ismail Sarr, maybe?
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout at all. Paul says, gee, you're ranting. I don't know what you're talking about that.
Oh, Paul might be watching like 10, 20 minutes behind.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's watching on like double speed or something. Yeah. Paul, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, let's see. Should we see our teams? Should we see our points? We've got 20 minutes left. We want to do lots of questions as well. Ferguson is Irish. Yeah, there's definitely people watching on catch up because we spoke about him 5 minutes ago. Which is great. Thank you for all your comments in the chat. There's over 300 of you watching. The algorithm loves it when it sees people watching and that they're clicking that subscribe button. So if you're a lurker out there, do click the subscribe. Even if you are subscribed, you can click the like button instead. We've only got 72 likes from over 300 watching. I'd expect a few more. No pressure. You do you. You do you. Lewis Hall, mate, I need about 20 points from him tonight.
Well, I should be fine. If he scores, mate, I'll cheer for you.
Disappointing all over. Cunha saving my bacon in a way. Like, he has been phenomenal. Like, bringing Cunha in for a 12 and a 16 has been sensational for his price point. Mate, do you know what I want to do? Rather than look back, I want to look forward and discuss captaincy.
Yes.
Before we do captaincy and give us your 2 pence worth in the chat, maybe we'll do a captaincy poll where we can talk Salah as an option, Palmer as an option, and Mbeumo as an option, and then maybe Cunha. They can be the 4. But let me give you my 2 routes in terms of transfers, and I want your honest opinion on both. Looking at the team I've got, my plan is to do, or was to do Solanke to João Pedro, and then I'll have the exact funds next week, which I might have to make an early move, to go Bruno to Salah. It means I don't get Salah for Man City. I do get him for Newcastle. And it means I don't have Solanke for Fulham at home, but I have João Pedro in place.
Okay.
Or I sell Haaland, finally, for João Pedro, keep Solanke for Fulham at home, take a 4-point hit and get rid of either Dibbling or Rodgers to Mo Salah. And then I have money in the bank to upgrade Bruno to Saka and get another Arsenal defender in. I'll have a lot of money, but I have no Erling Haaland. And I really want to captain Erling Haaland for Nottingham Forest fixture at home in game week 14. So what do I do? Sell Haaland to get Salah with a 4-point hit, or stick with the plan, keep Haaland, sell Solanke to João Pedro, and convert Bruno to Salah?
I'd take the hit, mate.
Oh no, I knew you were going to say that. That's what everyone's saying, because that's clearly the smart thing to do.
It's just, I just think you're going to pay the price this game. I think you're just risking another bad game week.
Yeah, but Salah was already on -4 for me, remember? He'd have to score a brace. He'd have to score one.
As soon as he scores and Haaland doesn't, it's worth it.
If I make that move, I'd be selling one of my enablers like Dibbling or Rodgers, probably Dibbling. So my 8th forward would then be Rodgers, which would mean a lot of the time Rodgers is my first sub as well, which again, I don't like. Like I want to be starting Rodgers most weeks because I think he's good.
It's really, you're stuck. Especially if you're intending to stick with him for that Forest game. Nick says, Forest are one of the best defenses in the league. Are you really targeting them?
At home, to Man City at home, we just saw Arsenal obliterate Forest in terms of chance creation.
We just saw Man City lose 4-0 at home.
Forest are flat track bullies. Man City are flat track bullies against weaker opposition at home. Like Spurs aren't weak opposition. Look, Forest are no mugs, but I fancy it. I might just wait to see what I see in the Champions League if City look like they're turning a corner. Gooch says it's time. Andy says take the hit. Mark says -4. Jamie says sell. Freddie says -4, no brainer. Someone else says something like, oh, Shashank said still not selling Haaland. Wow. Like everyone is saying, do your version. Maybe I do.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do you though, mate. Right? You'll be kicking yourself if your original plan would have worked.
If Haaland starts banging them in and I can't get to him because I've spent those funds, I'm going to be sick. And I've come this far. I'm on Red Arrows, Red Arrows. My season's done. My season's genuinely, my career's done.
What's it like? What is the feeling at the moment, mate?
It's shocking. No one's watching my vids. No one's responding to my tweet. Like, I promise you, like my numbers are dramatically down based on performance. It's terrible. It's terrible. No one wants to watch the Gianni Battici deadline stream. Like, why do I care what move Gianni's making?
Oh dear. So who's is there any content creators now doing better? Because everyone was doing bad at the start. How have people turned it around? Like,
no, they've all bought Salah 3 weeks ago when Big Man did, when like that was the move everyone made. They sold hard and unfortunately, because these content creators have followings, just like, to be fair, I do, the vast majority will back them if that's what the masses are doing, right? So everyone watching in the chat, I did a YouTube live on Sunday morning and I did a poll saying who's still got their captain to play, i.e. Salah to play. Knowing Palmer and Haaland had played Saturday, 85% were waiting on Salah captain. Like, it's not a 50-50. The casual managers, yes, are backing Haaland, but all the engaged lot are on Salah and all doing well. You don't have to be smashing it to be getting views on YouTube. You just have to be having a good enough season. But if you're doing bad, people laugh at you and go, why would I listen to this guy? He's still got Haaland. And that is genuinely what my comments are full of. It's ridiculous.
It's funny. I'm just looking at a community team invitational league, which I don't know if you're in actually. I thought you would.
No, I declined quite a few of those types of leagues.
But
too many.
Ian Irving is not having a very good season.
Is he not?
Ali Hangaroff not having a very good season. Mark Southerns, your mate, not having a very good season. They're all below.
That sounds like a good league to be in, to be fair.
They're all below me. Me and Big Man are side by side in this league. Let me just look up a bit higher. Holly Shan, she's
doing well. Holly's having a good season.
She's got 20 more points than me.
Yeah.
And I consider that I'm not having a good season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you know the
weird.
way I manage though? I'm never gonna have like I'm gonna have some good seasons, but I'm also gonna have a few bad. But the way I go, because I do make choices against the crowd quite a lot, and that can hit. But when it misses, it's gonna hit you.
Yeah, Holly's got Haaland and Salah.
Yeah, she's selling Haaland this week. I spoke to her today. We recorded our pod. She's going Haaland out, João Pedro in. No, Cunha in.
Cunha in, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I'm sticking with the plan. I think, man.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
going to
gonna
say,
stick with
I
Haaland.
think my advice is take the -4, but I actually think you should stick to being you. And if you've got a plan, then try and carry it off, because
I've got to make up some ground
you've got to
somewhere.
make
The
up
only
some
way to make up
ground.
ground is by holding Haaland. It
I
does
think
rule
so.
out Saka for me, I think, though. And I'm a bit scared about not owning Saka, but you can't have them all.
Yeah. It is such a hard thing. Oh, we've got a new member. Sorry, before I say anything else,
That's
Paul was
Paul.
signed up. That's 2 in one show.
Well done,
thank
Paul.
you, Paul. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for signing up. Welcome to the elite, as we call ourselves.
Gucci says that's so
CJ
sad to
elite.
hear about might give G some likes on YouTube. It's fine. You've got to have genuinely, Gucci. You've got to have tough skin for this game. Like if it kills you the way I know it can do, and it has perhaps to me in the past, and I've seen it do to some other sort of FPL content creator friends, then it's probably not the sort of job you want to go down in terms of like the main source of your income and like eggs and baskets. I like the fact that I've got a job away from FPL as well, because I think that keeps it quite light at times. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, how do you actually deal with a Saturday? Do you sit and actually like watch games, watch the scores come in, or are you just like living your normal life, checking live score or whatever?
I'll tell you off air how I dealt with Saturday. I was just thinking, should I say it? No, I really nearly did. I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you off air. On Sunday, with the Haaland blanking, I'll tell you off air how I dealt with that Saturday night. And then the Sunday, I decided, my dad was around. I was like, at 2:00, Dad, we have to be busy. And I was like, let's go do some gardening. He was like, it's pouring with rain. There's floods. And I was like, we're doing some gardening. So we went out, and then his phone was pinging when we was outside. He's got like, I don't know, flash mob or whatever. And I was like, please. He was like, oh. I was like, do not say anything. Like, don't give me any indication. He was like, no, you'll be happy. I was like, Dad, stop it. And I knew we were about 60 minutes in. And he was like, no, you'll be happy, because he knew I just needed a Salah blank. And I went, do not tell me anything. And by the way, there's half an hour left of this football match. And I know Salah only scores goals in the last half an hour. If he's blanking now, he could finish on 24 points. And obviously, like, I didn't find out. So then I carried on doing the gardening. And then about half an hour, maybe an hour after the game, I did really well. I was like, check straight on the app. And I was like, oh my God, a brace. Oh my God, bonus points. Oh no. And I just shouted out just a swear word, and Cam and my dad were upstairs at this point doing some work in the bathroom. My dad just came out to do jobs, and my dad shouted down, "What's wrong? And I was like, Salah's banged, and it was just like, oh, I need to grow up now. But it does affect my mood.
No, I'm sure. Like, mate, I think it affects everyone's mood anyway. But like, given that it is your job, like I just can't imagine. Like, at least my job in transfers, like, it's not guesswork. Like, you have to guess what's going to happen. You know, I know, like, and I can say it's like an educated guess, but like, I get actual information of a real event that's already taking place.
Yeah,
it would be like you getting information that like Salah is going to get a penalty. I'm not saying he's going to score this weekend, but he is going to get a penalty this weekend. Like, I can assure you, it's like someone saying to me, I can't promise you this deal is going to happen, but talks are ongoing, and in the next 3 days it'll be concluded. Yeah. So like, at least I have that. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. At least I know I was close. You don't get that.
No, I tell you what I get. I get really good underlying data to suggest a player is going to turn it round. And that is what Haaland gives me every single week.
Yeah. Yeah, just stick with
Doesn't
him all
always work
season,
though,
mate.
does it?
If you stick with him all season, surely it turns around.
Yeah, I'm just ruling out Saka. I now know the crowd will all flock to Saka because they can, and I won't be able to get to Saka because I've been Haaland. If this could be another Salah situation, but look, I'll let you know on Friday what I'm doing with my team. I've got the exact funds, by the way, to do that Solanke to João Pedro and Bruno to Salah moves. But I don't want to do Bruno to Salah until next game week, so I need no more price rises, which is fine. Salah has already gone up in price. I don't think he'll have another rise before Friday. If he does, and he's about to rise Friday night, I could be in a situation where I make the Bruno to Salah transfer on Friday night after the deadline. So I've got him in for 14, even though he hasn't played 13 yet. Does that make sense? I might actually have to do that. Let's see.
Interesting.
Mate, let's see your team. Been far too self-indulgent tonight. Apologies.
No, I like it, mate. If you want to find out how Gianni reacted, I'll tell you all on the members area.
I don't know if it's it's not good for my reputation, so please don't.
No, don't worry. It's between us.
I'm going to WhatsApp you it now.
No worries. Yeah, you can see it was a terrible week, really. Saved by literally three players, and hopefully Isak bangs in a minute. That's literally all I've got. Wood was sub. What's that about? Wood sub. So that was annoying.
New Zealand though, right? He's travelling back.
Yeah, so that was. I hadn't really thought about that, so that was annoying. But I still don't know that. Would I have started Johnson? Probably not. Man City or like when Johnson scores. Like, not only have I got Porro transferred out, I've also put Johnson on the bench. So getting rid of my two Tottenham players. Actually, 3 Tottenham players I got rid of this week, really, because I sold Porro and Solanke and I benched Johnson. And that's like, 20 odd points. So that was a pretty bad decision. So thankfully, I had the opposite reaction to you. When I heard Salah had scored, I was very relieved. Actually, the first goal, I didn't even react because, like, okay, 1 goal is 1 goal. He needs to get 2 goals before it even means anything. And I wasn't watching it closely, and I heard that there was a penalty, and I run back in.
Yeah,
and it's actually a penalty. Salah's not going to miss this.
No,
I was annoyed when he took his shirt off. His
bonus points went from 3 to 2 with that as well. Not only a yellow card, but he lost. You poor things. All your Salah captainers, you lost 2 points.
You see what we suffered? Those 2 points.
And that's 4 captain points.
That was 4 points. He could have got me 30 points. So that was a shame. But yeah, generally, it sounds stupid, but 54 points isn't that bad at the end of the day this week. So that's turned out not bad on an average of 45 points week. I got a mix actually of red and green arrows. Half of my mini leagues are up, half of them are down. So that's a strange one. But generally, I think I'm just doing okay. As I say, my rank is 1 million, almost literally. So I need to get back in there, and hopefully Isak gets me there tonight.
I'm sure he will. I do fancy Isak. Like, that's such a good punt for those that have gone there early. I think we're all going to be in a position where we want Isak, but early adopters will hopefully be rewarded tonight. I'm just looking at Isak's ownership. Yeah, 20. And that'll be a lot of dead teams at the start of the season because going into game week 1, he was like 50% owned. So, yeah. Nice. Okay. Your early thoughts with captaincy, Dean. Like the poll we just did, I'm shocked. Like, this is another reason why you need Salah this week. Like, the vast majority are captain Salah versus Man City. They're not going Cole Palmer versus Villa, despite Palmer having a rest in the week. Villa playing Juve. They're not going Mbermo at home to Leicester, despite Mbermo's home form being insane. They're going Salah against City. Is that where you think you'll go? Or?
I mean, I don't think it's terrible because I think he'll probably score. So I'd give Salah a goal in that game. But if I look at my own team here, Isak's got Crystal Palace away, Palmer's got Aston Villa home, and Burmo's got Leicester at home. Welbeck or João Pedro, whichever one I want, would have Southampton at home. Even Chris Wood, he's got Ipswich at home.
Yeah.
Got a lot of options. Bruno Fernandes has got Everton at home.
Wait, Chris Wood, Ipswich at home.
Chris Wood, Ipswich at home isn't a bad shout.
Ipswich, again, like Brentford, they're good at home, but terrible away. So
so I'm looking at the one good thing, when I had Haaland, I refused basically to consider anybody else as captain. But yeah, even now I'm like, oh, Chris Wood, like Ipswich are literally the 4th worst away team in the league. And let me check Nottingham Forest home form, what that's actually like. I don't know if it's great. No, they're mid-table, Forest, in terms of home form. But there's things like that to weigh up. And I'm happy to be way more versatile now with my armband than I ever was when I owned Haaland. Because he was so much money. And it was like, if we're going to have a 15 million player, I've got to captain him.
Yeah.
I don't quite feel like that with Salah. I'm sure Salah will have it most of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Well, I look forward to see. I always think with Champions League weeks and captaincy, a lot of it, the Monday, Tuesday decisions switch after Tuesday night. Like, let's say Salah blanks or looks really bad, and you know someone else looks really good. Then often we do see the thoughts on captaincy changing throughout the week based on performances in Europe. Mate, I've had loads of fun tonight. Honestly,
no, it has been a good show. It's been fun.
The chats we have, I think, make me value why I enjoy playing this game. Because yes, we play the game to get good ranks, but I also play the game because I like engaging with the chasers. I love seeing everyone's comments. I love the regular streams and the conversations we can have, chatting with you. So even when you're having a terrible season, sometimes you just have to write it off and go, "It is what it is."
Bit of a therapy session, mate.
It's a very good therapy session.
A therapy couch, yeah. Last one from Leo. We'll do this one for you, mate. And Burmo to Saka for a -4, or Robertson to Gabriel for a -4. Probably do Robertson to Gabriel just because Mburmo's got a good fixture this weekend. And actually, I was just looking at it, I was thinking, actually, Brentford are the best home team in the league. And they're home. Got a nice fixture. So I'm like, actually, probably consider Mburmo as captain against Leicester from my team.
Are they going to have a new manager by then?
Leicester, yeah, probably. They don't seem to have a clear
new manager
from what I understand. Yeah. So they might have that. But
prediction for tonight, we'll finish on. I'm going for a Newcastle 2-0.
Yeah, I think 2-0. I was going to say that 2-0, 2 for Isak.
There we go. I'd love that because Hall then gets a clean sheet. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We will be back, I guess, on Wednesday with Big Man. We'll be back on Friday with me and Dean ahead of that Friday night deadline as well, where I'll be revealing if I kept Haaland or not. I'll also be having another run. I promise you that. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.